Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Telara Tales. So last time we talked about the Bloodstorm War, about the dragons, about why Telara is racked by all of these problems with the planes. It's basically it's basically because Telara is at the nexus of all of the planes. And Telara is rich in source stone, which is what the dragons were after. Well, among other things, they also wanted absolute power, and by that they mean we want to kill you all, or at least not all of the dragons. That's what we found out last time, is that not all of the dragons wanted everything dead. It was basically Regulus that wanted everything dead. And, well, Melforge is known for his destructive nature, but he didn't want necessarily the death of all. Um, he wanted destruction, but he doesn't care if it comes back or not. Like, or not in that sense, but he doesn't mind things coming back. That's how I should that's how I should phrase it. So yeah, basically we talked about the Bloodstorm War, which was between 1500 to 1000 years before the game begins. Now we are going to go to the fall of the Eth Empire, which took place 500 years before the events of the game as we know it. And so let's go into that. So the fall of the Eth Empire. So the Eth are Defiance at this point in time, but before that, the factions didn't really have anything to do. It was more about like, hey, we kind of gel together well. The Eth are actually humans who seceded. They separated themselves from the rest of the humans who were all about the gods, and the gods are anti or became anti-machine because of the ward. So the gods were actually, I think I'm going to talk about that a bit later, like during Storm Legion times. But basically, we find out at some point that the Vigil were not necessarily anti. Um, Machine. They actually were encouraging it at some point, but because of the breach of the ward, orchestrated kind of by Orfeel, who is, a big Magitech uh, proponent, who is really big in the Magitech industry, let's just say. So it was orchestrated by Adraxis with the help maybe of Orfeel. Like at this point, I'm not sure if Orfeel actually directly helped or indirectly by means of Orfeel was a teacher at the school that Adraxis went to. And was Adraxis a good student? Who the hell knows? So I'm not sure lore wise if Orfeel directly helped with the breach of the ward. And I'm not going to be one of those people that like tries to find excuses. No, I'm trying to find what the truth is, and at this point it's kind of sketchy. Yes, I do play Defiance, but I'm not gonna say like, oh, it's okay because they're Defiance, and it's okay because he did it for good reasons. Let's just put it this way: Orfeel is a sketchy character as hell, and he's been that way since day one of game time, and he's been that way since even before game time. And he was that way until very recently, where we still don't know exactly everything there is to know about Orfeel, but we do know about him, and I'm going to talk about that. Like if you're interested in finding information before I actually make these videos and before I post on the WordPress site on the telaratales.wordpress.com, you're very much welcome to click on the link with the big, I call it the Telara Tales, a giant Rift lore compendium. It's a Google Docs that I started working on, and I talked about it before. But it's basically a Google Docs with basically everything I'm working on for the lore. So if you're interested in stuff that I'm not even talking about yet, you're more than welcome to find out about stuff that I haven't made sense of it yet. Like sometimes I just take stuff from forums or from websites, I copy paste and I don't look at it and I don't work on the, sentence structure or anything like that. I just leave it as is until I get there at some point. So, like, basically everything that has to do with Prophecy of Ankhet, that has to do with Nightmare Tide and some of Storm Legion, I am not there yet. Like, I'm still working through the vanilla lore. Anyways, so let's get to the fall of the Eth Empire. So I'm currently standing at the former location of the city of Redoubt. The former. It's the current location of the city of Redoubt, but the former city of Redoubt. So it's the current location of the former city of Redoubt. Yay, got it. Got it in three. Okay, so yes, we kind of get to know the architecture of the Eth, which is it looks very futuristic in some way, and it looks very earthly in other ways. I like it. It's basically it shows off who they are as a peoples, and who they are as a peoples is they're very intricate people. They are very interested in furthering research into how to make their lives better, how to make the Telara be better, and how to make Magitech better. So you get that kind of already from their architecture. Now let's go and walk in, and we'll talk about the fall of the Eth Empire. But basically, you can sort of already tell that it's pretty much fallen. Hey, hello. Let's walk in. Right, so you see, this is the former city of Redoubt, and it's you can tell that it's been destroyed, right? I mean, who would want to live here besides these beautiful wanton people? Draconids. What are they called again? They're the Draconids, I think, and then they're pets, beautiful pets. So, yeah, you can sort of tell that they were very. I kind of get the feeling that they were kind of nomadic people. Nomadic? I don't know how to say it. So, you can already tell that, their architecture was more about uh you know the Magitech, and they want it to be very how would you say, um let's put it this way, it's more about the use than the beauty. At least that's what you get from these ruins. I mean, ruins are never pretty, but basically you can sort of tell that it was more about the usage than the prettiness. Whereas, guardians in general, like the high elves, for example, their architecture is more about the prettiness than um, than the actual usage of the place. So yeah, we're gonna stand right here. All right, yay. So this is the city of Redoubt. Right. Okay. Oh, all right. Well, let's get back to this pretty place that I had picked out before. So, the fall of the Eth Empire, basically, it can be summed up in one word. It's called a convocation. And, well, I'll get into details, but basically, this convocation, a convocation in general means people meet up and talk about stuff, right? So, it's kind of like a conference. And so, this convocation basically had a ton of people, and in this case, it was tons of sorcerers because Eth were very much about technology, but also about sorcery. So they were very, very good mages, and they were very, very much interested in mixing and matching everything. And indeed, I think that chloromancy, if I remember correctly, I'll have to delve back in. I'll have to dive back into my documents, but into my Google Docs. But basically, I think that chloromancy was created, was developed, not created, but was developed by by an Eth mage before the fall of the Eth Empire. So yes, now let's go through this storytelling that I have. Now, whereas the greatest scientists in the Eth City of Redoubt were working on a powerful ritual called the convocation, and by convocation they were trying to, it was the meetup. It was a meetup of a lot of sorcerers, right? And in actually, the Eth were always ruled by sorcerer kings. So that kind of gives you the idea of like they really cared about sorcery. They really cared about magitech, but they also cared about the elevation of their intellect, right? And they worked their minds really hard. So they were working on this powerful ritual called the convocation, which would have allowed the Eth people, to elevate themselves to godhood, to agents of male forage blah, 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 sorry, to elevate themselves to godhood, and kind of like I think they were working on the ascendancy even back then, and Orpheal, I don't remember, but I think that Orpheal was already living there at some point. And so, he was kind of working together with the Eth sorcerers on this ascendancy ritual, and possibly ascendancy magitech as well. So it was already in the works at that point. Now, agents of Malforage infiltrated the city and corrupted the device that held the spirits. Now, spirits of the earth, I believe. Now, the Kalari were very much into spirits, but I guess that Eth as well, the Eth people. Instead of empowering the sorcerers, the force of 1,000,000 souls was unleashed upon the land, destroying the cradle of the Eth Empire. So from this, I can kind of gather that million souls, they were already, they were working in on a ritual to basically pluck souls from the soul stream, which is huge. I mean, it's basically what Elsbeth was working on too, plucking souls from the soul stream. So I have, like I've said before, we don't really know anything about the Titans. I think I said this before, but we really don't know anything about the Titans besides, they were earthly, um like they were protecting the hills of Stonefield. That's pretty much all I know about the Titans. I mean, there's really not much to know about to be found about them besides questing through Stonefield, and I personally don't remember any of my questing from Stonefield. I would have to basically level up a new character, and that's, oh god. I have too many tunes already. Um so yes, the force of 1,000,000 souls was unleashed upon the land, destroying the cradle of the Eth Empire. It's not clear whether the convocation was a spell cast in some internal conflict or an experiment gone awry. Um, I mean, like I said, the Eth were really big into Magitech, so I personally, and I think that Orpheal was already part of the Eth society-ish. So I have this feeling that it was a spell and an experiment. Now, was there an internal conflict? Like, was there problems between some of the Eth sorcerers? I don't know. I mean, what is clear is that all of the Ethians near the blast vanished, and I mean, you can see it from this visual here. You can tell. You can definitely tell that it was total annihilation. Now, let's see some pictures that I pulled up from the internet. I mean, these were the Eth, and I said it before. Like basically, with this picture, you can sort of tell that they were nomadic people, and they were, people of the sands, and they were very much about, you know, uh, purpose before beauty, you know. And I'm not saying that physically, like the people themselves. I'm saying like from their architecture, from their clothing, from their blades. Even you can tell from their blades, they're very, you know, gets the job done. So here I have another picture. This basically depicts an Eth sorceress. Um, you can tell there's kind of like this magitech thing going on with like their clothing, but it's also purpose before beauty, etc. Um, Now I have this magitech here. I mean, we already kind of see this Magitech in game, but this is basically what they were working on in Redoubt, in all of the Ethlands as well, and Shimmer Sands. Um, and also it's interesting to note that the Eth were living on Droughtlands and also Shimmer Sands, so they had a pretty big land to cover. Sorry. But yeah, so what is clear is that all the Ethians near the blast vanished, the ground split asunder, the rivers went dry, and Eth was laid to waste. And, by dry, I mean it's already freaking dry, but I think there were already sand people. Like, yes, there were oases, but they were sand people to begin with. And I mean, the drought it kind of gives itself away by the name drought, droughtlands. So it was already pretty sandy, but this convocation basically tore the land apart and made it super dry and super uh like it's not a place you want to live, right? So let's go here. Ugh, I can't get up here. Da-da-da. Right. Yeah, this mount makes so much noise, it's crazy. Right. So, this is a beautiful visual, and you can sort of see the tower there. I mean, you can tell from the spire up there that's like it's Magitech. I mean, it's still working even though the city's destroyed. Oh, yeah. Now, and the Eth lands were laid to waste. Um, we have a bit of lore here, a story, so I'm going to read it and enjoy it. In the twilight of the Eth Empire, the Sorcerer Kings commissioned a secure laboratory in Shimmersand, its very existence a matter of extreme secrecy. We're gonna visit it later. They were never able to unveil their project, for when the convocation came, a massive volcano erupted directly under the facility. All its research disappeared in a rush of molten rock, to be forgotten for eons with the rest of the extinguished empire. Expire? Extinguished empire. There we go. It has come to light that the laboratory's work was not entirely wiped out, and indeed the Charmus coil, final fruit of the Ath's experiments, remains hidden within the volcano itself. This potent, mind altering device was meant to bind planar creatures into service, to prevent a repeat of the Titan's uprising in Stonefield. Um, so yeah, it kind of tells the story of how, yes, the Titans uh were in Stonefield and were kind of had an uprising, and uh I guess the Eth bound them. Anyways, Krusha, enslaver of the will, now seeks to add its power to her own. The volcano's insides are only accessible to veteran ascended, who will encounter an even more dangerous landscape of jagged rocks and lava, with a curious sheen of liquid gold. Liquid gold? Well, that tells you something about Lathis there. Krusha's monstrous thralls patrol there, led by the huge gargoyle Gronic and his harpy brides. Worst of all, a Legion commander named Kalia is at the Caldera, and seems to be in high spirits despite the ongoing search for the Charmer's coil. Perhaps this has something to do with the strange golden magma that flows within the volcano and pulses with intense magical energy. Arcane scholars know that Krusha and her sister Lathis are bitter rivals, so why would the discovery of so much magical gold please a high ranking subject of the Storm Queen? And I'm personally not sure why. I can't answer that question. So yeah, after the convocation, the few survivors fled and took refuge with their Bami allies, and transmitted to their descendants a far more glorious version of the fall of their empire. Now, some of their descendants are this lady here, which we know as Asha Katari. Uh, yeah, so erasing from public memory the tragic truth of what had come to pass. Their once mighty machines, now powerless, are destined to remain buried in the sand forever. As the stories passed down, took care not to mention said machines in an effort to keep history from repeating itself and to prevent the cultists from using Magitech to destroy the ward. Meanwhile, the Mythosian Empire took the opportunity to extend its influence, taking over most of the world by claiming they wanted to protect it from the dragons. The last Eth sorcerers become counselors to the Mythosian court, which is how Asha came to become a student at Quicksilver College, because she was a guest, I guess, at the Mythosian court. Um, la, la, la. Yeah, the last Death sorcerers become counselors to the Mythosian court. The Qataris, who were the highest of all of the Eth tribes in Redoubt, are among them. Her father, Asha's father, was apparently one of the, I think, the high sorcerer of Redoubt. So he was basically the king, the sorcerer king. Asha Qatari, the Defiance leader in the future, is born. Now we're going to go to. Hang on, I have no idea where I'm going. Directions are really bad for me. Alright, so we're going to go to Fallback and then to Fortune Shore. Alright, let's do this. Right, this way. Alright, Fallback. I see the I see the particulum. I can do this. I can do this. Alright. So we are going to Fortune Shore. And this is basically one of the laboratories that we find in Shimmer Sands during our quest. Why did I unmount? I don't know. So, Charmer's Caldera is over there. How do I get there? Get. Okay, so let's go through here. Dun, dun, dun. There's a zone event coming up. And that's a Beastmaster over there. He's going to Intrepid something something. Maybe. I have no idea. Oh, there is a zone event. I'm crazy. Alright, so we are going to Charmus Caldera, and I hope I'm taking the right way, because otherwise this is ridiculous. Danger! Keep out! I never saw that. Righto, so this way maybe? Maybe I should cut this this bit out of the video, because it's gonna make the video super long with me like, how do I get there? I don't know. Yeah, this is a dead end. Okay, so I think I have to go around these bugs. Yeah, I don't care. Oh, this way, I think? Um, really not sure. Ah, you can tell this is an Ethian architecture over there. Maybe I'm going in the right direction. I really don't know. I hope so. That looks like an S device. Yeah, I think if when you're questing through Shimmer Sands, you do get to see quite a bit of S devices during your questing, and I think this is it. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Charmus Caldera, priest kings. They were not priests; they were sorcerers, basically. All right. So let's get through this place. Da da da. I am more powerful than you could ever hope to be. I kill you very easily. Yeah. Okay. Da da da. Meanwhile, I'm gonna give you a visual of this place. So yeah, this is basically the laboratory that was requested by the Ethian kings, the sorcerer kings, who basically they wanted to further their research hidden from society, or they wanted their research to be secret, secretive, so that no one else would know what they were working on. And this is basically right. So hang on, let's get out of here. This is a place where Crucia's um, Crucia's people, things, Crucia's followers have attempted to collect information, and it was destroyed during the convocation. So you can see, like, this was probably another room that's hidden behind there. There used to be a boss here. Am I crazy or not? There used to be a boss. Not crazy. Alright. And then next, we go this way. So yeah, as you can see, this is, you know, the lava, and it said something about, let's see, hang on. Da 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 da. Oh, hello. Yeah. Let me read, god damn it. Da 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 da. A massive volcano. Yeah, so for they were never able to unveil their project for when the convocation came. A massive volcano erupted directly under the facility. All its research disappeared in a rush of molten rock to be forgotten for eons with the rest of the extinguished empire. And later on, it talks about a strange golden magma that flows within the volcano and pulses with intense magical energy. And this seems to suggest that Lathis is involved at some point. And I remember reading on the forums recently that basically it's like um, it's suggested at the end, apparently, after the last boss, there's like a hidden door that you never get through, but it might have been planned to have Lathis be the last boss of this dungeon, or to be there to like spur you on, like to teleport away during the fight or something like that. You know, not kill her necessarily, but to have her egg you on. Like, oh, I'm so much better than you. So these are the Storm Legion followers here that you can see. Basically, it's air creatures, airplanar creatures from Crucia's world, plane, whatever. Ah, this is the boss I was talking about. Okay, so it's a different structure. It's a different building. All of these beautiful elementals here. Let's fight these things, and then we have to go in. Right. So there's a boss in there. There we go. It's, what's his name? Cyclorax. Yes. Blah, 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 blah. There we go. Alright, so it's, da 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 da. Okay. There's an Ashtor Mori that says, I cannot reach Kalia's mind. Her power is focused on the search for the Charmer's coil. We're on our own. Does Mailforge seek the coil as well? These are not his minions. Yeah. These were spirits. These were beings were bound by Eth long ago with the device we seek. So they're not necessarily Crucia's followers, but they're or spirits or what are they called? Wisps and so on. They're not necessarily Crucia's at in the past, but you can kind of figure that maybe at some point Crucia enslaved them. Yeah, so they were bound by Eth long ago with a device we seek, the Charmer's Coil. Our search must have stirred them from their fiery slumber. By a gale and gust, I will break you, lightning will ravage your bones. From Cyclorax. Oops. Sorry. I subside, treasure these calm moments, mortals, they shall not last. Right. So we go back out. You find a lot of things through research like this, you know? I mean, I didn't know until just now that they were actually not Crucius from the beginning. They were bound by the S. Blah, 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 and blah, blah. There we go. Blah, blah, blah. Don't I have my AoE thing? Oh, I don't have my AoE thing. Okay, there we go. Okay, this will make things a little bit faster because I didn't have my AoE toggle on. Whoops. Toggle. So now if I try to single target something, it'll also spread instead of taking forever to kill stuff. I should say. That should be nice. I was actually told in a previous video, like, you swear too much. And I was like, really? Because I'm not a bitch about it. I don't swear like a fucking sailor either, but I swear like everybody else does. Anyways. Alright, and is there something in there? I'm not sure anymore. See, that's the thing. I haven't been to Charmus Caldera in a really long time. Yeah, there's nothing here. Good to know. Yeah, so when you were leveling and going through these dungeons, there would have been quests here to I think to put these to turn these machines on, if I remember correctly. All right, this way I think. Yes. Is this the last boss? No, this is not the last boss, but it's Gronik. So this is one of the dragons. So what did the thing say about Gronik? Grisha's monstrous thralls patrol here, led by the huge gargoyle Gronik and his harpy brides. So this is actually a creature sent here by Krusha. I would have thought it was Melforged because of his appearance, but it appears that he's a dragon of air instead of fire, like I thought. See, you find so much when you're reading, when you're doing research about stuff. Kalia, hurry. The Storm Legion will have the Charmer's Coil. You will be our puppet. Puppetry is very big in Krusha's priorities. She wants to make everybody her puppet. Yep. Wait, is it this? No, that's not it. I have to go here, right? No, I just came from here. Okay. I'm so directionally challenged. So this way then, right? I think no. No, no. Where's the next guy? Ah, okay, yes, it's in the it's in the volcano. Oof. Yes. Oh, we have sirens for some reason, or Atragarians as they're later known. Da -da -da. Hey. Okay. So then we get up here. We have more. Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's very confusing because you would associate with their coloring. You would associate these creatures with Malforge or even yeah, usually Malforge. But then you have these, and you associated them Grusha for sure. Getting so much notoriety with Dragon Slayer. Woo! Right, and then we have Joltherin, and we meet him much later. We meet him again in during Storm Legion. He is the second to last boss of Triumph of the Dragon Queen, which is Crucia. So he is a follower of Crucia's. He is part of the Storm Legion. Ready? Let's get there. Oh, what I want. Kalia, I will hold them off. You have what we came for. Flee with it quickly. Then we go out here. I guess you go through here. Yes. Tunnels. Aha. Alright, that's Kalia. I don't remember if we meet her later. I don't believe so. But yeah, so this is Kalia that we meet Charmer's Caldera. And it's inferred, you see the door there in the back. Right, so you see this door in the back, and it's inferred, and somebody was writing about that in the forums. Somebody wrote that maybe Lathis is hidden because we don't exactly know where she was bound during the Bindings of Blood after the Bloodstorm War, right? So each of the dragons was bound somewhere. We don't know exactly where Lathis was bound, but it's inferred that she was bound in Charmer's Caldera. And it's inferred in the forums, somebody was inferring that she was bound behind that door. So that's very interesting to know. Right, so it would have been a very interesting if you went through these doors right at the end of this dungeon, because that would have made the storytelling and the knowledge of where Lathis was bound much easier to know. Because, yeah. And, yes, I think that maybe the volcano coming to life basically freed her, because maybe she was bound by fire. So, this is the end of this video. I'm sorry it took so long to get through this storytelling. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.